software, OBS 0.16.2, OBS Studio, and it's free. And it works, and you just click it, and it starts streaming, and it actually, so far, knock on plastic, it works, and the video actually gets up there. Now, I do get a little bit confused about where the mic is coming from and things like that. I got to learn to check. For example, maybe I should go over here and check it. I'm pretty sure it's working. Let's see. How do I do this? Oh, turn the is coming from and things like that. I got to learn to check. Now, you don't seem to be hearing that. Hello. What? Let's try this. See if you hear this. So somebody in a hangout mentioned, oh, why don't you make music? You know, I made music for a little while, a particular period. And it's interesting where that period surrounds to me. Hey, with this thing, I could go through very self-indulgently some of the songs that I like from that whole period. But anyway, I do still play with my machines, and I've got this machine. It's called MASCHINE. It's a drum pad. Let's see. It's a drum pad, plus I have this. Oh, I gotta turn the volume up, don't I? Because I faded it very cleverly. It'd be more like this. You're not interested. I'm interested in this part. Okay. I'm going to reply to a comment that I also replied to in text that is over here somewhere. In my video, which was viewing Quintica, I mentioned some other things besides. Is that what it really was, or is that one of these mislabeled ones? I don't know. Anyway, here is the comment by Logical Empiricist. Thank you for watching, Logical Empiricist. I don't really mean that in the literal sense, but, you know, whatever. I acknowledge that you're watching, and, you know, thanks for taking part. I guess that's what I would really say. I don't really care if people watch, but I do like when they leave comments and feedback. Because though I do enjoy talking, it feels empty when there's no feedback. And that's the beauty of the internet and YouTube. So, Logical Empiricist says, in response to what I had been saying, you like foreign smells and food. Good. Good use of colon. Good colon. I like that. I do that. You can chain, colon change, call them. Okay, I should start over because it's not really clear. Okay, you like foreign smells and food. Good. Vacation in Mexico or Iran, exclamation point. But don't impose on us, U.S. capitals, to take those smells and foods when we are in America. Okay, there is so many layers to what I am saying to you guys. First of all, okay, the first thing, the whole point of, so not the whole point because there's a specific point here. The meta point or whatever is that I am using this as an example of the fact, and I'm pretty sure I said this in this video or whatever I have been saying recently, I'm saying now, you need to acknowledge, you people that, Gary, that are, I want to say scared, but I don't want to be insulting. You people that don't like immigration or want to limit it, maybe you don't want to say you don't like it, whatever, you want to limit it. For now. Some people have said, oh, until the jobs get better. Some people have said, oh, and never. I'm looking into why you think that. But I don't expect it's going to be because you misunderstand your own desires, right? Probably when I weed down into there, even if there's like malformed logic and stuff, that doesn't mean I'm going to think that you don't really know what you believe. I'm going to think that I'm going to drill down to what I would call the real reason. And I had been saying, look, I like foreign smells, like curry and nag champa, which I only use as an example because I've talked to a couple people that are like, I'm not racist, but I just hate those smells, and then I'm working for people, Indians, and on the other hand, that same person is like, well, they turned out to be great people, whatever. Well, not entirely great people. That's another issue. I have many opinions that some people would think, well, what do you mean you're racist? You're cultural. I mean, it's not that I won't, broach that subject and be honest while I do. There are things you can characterize about cultures. It's not about their genes or anything, but there is historical facts about people and cultures. Um, I don't want to get into that right now, but feel free to call me on it later. Okay, so I like foreign smells, foreign foods. I like um, foreign music. I like foreign music that I don't even enjoy. I like being in a city and hearing foreign music that I'm like, I don't get that. That's cool though that it's going on. I like I don't like homogeneous. I, I'm not anti it. I understand why other people like everything to be the same, but to me, everything being the same, a little bit uncomfortable. It has been great in Maine, but 95% white, if anything, that's uncomfortable. But, I can deal with it and like get over it and realize like, no, that's okay. In other words, it's racist to think that I couldn't live in a place that happened to ethnically be um, fair skinned. I won't say related to me because they're from all over fucking Europe, north and south, and all different kinds of places. It's not like they're particularly related to me just because they happen to be of a white skinned race. Okay, but I digress. So I like these things. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep liking them. When you say, oh, immigration is dangerous, for example, let's talk about that part. Criminal immigrants. Oh, my dear. Well, guess what? The statistics, any studies show there's less criminals among those immigrants than we have per capita already in the United States. So, right away, allowing refugees and immigrants, you would reduce the overall per capita. It's a statistical thing. It's math. Criminal population in the United States. But also, let me explain to you, I don't care. Even if immigrants came over with twice the per capita rate of criminals, I would not mind. That's worth it. To me, 8 good people that appreciate the chances they have in this country is more than enough to compensate for the 2 that we're going to have to catch and find them stealing. When they steal something, we'll go ahead and do our criminal punishment over here in our judicial system and see how they like it in jail or with a fine or whatever it is. Those 8 people are very, very, very useful. And one reason is because, as you might have noticed, multi-generation Americans, even the first generation after the immigrants, but definitely by the third and fourth, and certainly by the sixth, seventh, and eighth, uh, are they're thankless. We don't really appreciate America. It's a struggle to, even when I was a kid and I thought like everybody does, oh, America's special and it's a specialist thing. It's different. It's like Jesus compared to everybody else. Um, you know, uh, it's still, that did not bring with it a feeling of appreciation, which immigrants and often their children, secondhand or still firsthand, appreciate about the chance that this country offers. So this is why I'm saying it's like the garlic. It's like if we did not grow garlic in the United States, but our soup, our signature flavor is garlic, so we import garlic. That's the immigrants. And that's not weird either, in the sense that, like, Italian food has a lot of tomatoes in it, but tomatoes are from America. It's just a couple centuries old at most. They didn't always do that. So sometimes you need to import something that is your signature flavor, in which case just keep doing that until you can't anymore. And certainly we could have a lot of immigrants. So I think immigrants are positive. It's helped America every time. And the meta point of that is not for you to go, but you're wrong about that, Pyrrho. Yes, we can discuss XYZ as well. But first, let's discuss I believe XYZ. Why? Because you need to realize that no matter who is elected president, I'm still going to be the same person. If Trump wins by 51% or 55% or 60% or 75% or 90%, it would not make me support building a big, stupid, smoke up your ass wall. That's not going to change, and I will fight against it later, just as you fight against the guy that wants to do it, right? So I'm still going to have my feeling, and I'm acknowledging other people are still going to have their feeling. They're going to be nervous. They're not going to like the smell of nag champa or curry or something. They're going to not like the sound of foreign languages. They're not going to want to go in a shop and have to struggle to understand someone's accent. I enjoy those things. I enjoy going into a shop and it's like, oh, to buy this, you know, to buy this pack of cigarettes, I have to understand this guy for 2 seconds well enough for him to take my money and give me some cigarettes. That's fine with me. It's actually a positive, like less boring than if everything is the same. I agree, you don't have to feel that way. It could annoy you. Why do I have to spend 10 seconds being confused by whether he said okay or yes, or is he saying they don't have it, or oh, I had to figure something out. You don't like that. Fine. That's nothing wrong. That's not racist or anything else. You don't have to like that. Okay. Now we get to the rest of this comment. Don't impose on the US or on us to take those smells and foods. I'm not imposing anything. I am lucky enough to be in the immigrant nation that was built off of immigrants. Now, I have ancestors that came across on the Mayflower, William Brewster. I am descended from him. My grandmother has, done all the genealogy. Still, there is no person that's purely born of those people. I have shit ton. Oh, also on my other side of my family, I'm a 16th Cherokee. So I have ancestors that were here because they were Cherokee. However, everybody in this country, you could not statistically, it's very unlikely it's impossible that you would find somebody who is just descended from people pre Constitution. Now, of course, we're immigrants as well, right? And even the Native Americans were immigrated from the other continent or whatever the story's going to turn out to be. They got here somewhere, somehow, by a process you'd call immigration, uh, even if it's before nations and stuff. I guess you might call it migration or something, but you get my point. Um, but let's say immigrants after there was a constitution, right? After there was a social contract that to come in here, it was written down ever since then. Everybody has immigrants, a majority of immigrants in their ancestry. And so we're all immigrants. And I am like, yeah, so it's a good thing. As a matter of fact, uh, what, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like not reject, not neglect. What I um, regret, anyway, what I think is a crisis. What I'm worried about with immigration is that we should figure out a way to produce this garlic of the American soup, the American stew natively. We can't. I mean, at some point, hopefully, the world will be good enough that immigration will just be this kind of steady state thing. You won't have people fleeing potato famines. And where are we going to get our garlic? Okay, so the main meta point there is that we're going to disagree after this election. We're going to have different views about immigration, whichever person, the game isn't over, and I'm not going to pretend that we won, so you have to shut up and pretend that you don't exist. No, you'll still want to build your wall. You have less of a chance, but let me tell you, even if Trump is president, you're not going to get your big $1 trillion babies on spikes wall. It's not a realistic idea. It's like space lasers. You might get a technology here or there by spending $1 billion, but you're not actually, the dream can't actually happen. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to talk about down in the actual issue of immigration is, so let me see what he said again here. Okay, so don't impose. Look, it's not an imposition, right? You we've started this country it was like 100 years before there was any immigration law at all. It was like, hey, you get here, you're part of it. Okay, so we started with my idea, and to a certain degree have maintained it, though we become more and more restrictive to the point where places like Canada are much more welcoming to immigrants than us. And they're not super welcoming, but whatever. Pretty much the state of immigration in this world is shitty. It's like, hey, we want you guys if you're rich, which is bullshit. Anyway, we started as an immigrant nation, so I don't have to give that up. I think we should continue to be an immigrant nation. It's what makes us the beacon of freedom. When people come to the United States to get freedom, they help make freedom a reality. They understand the difference between freedom and restriction better than lazy fifth generation Americans that just think they should have 5 cars instead of 1. I believe that sentiment is an important part of America. So I'm not imposing it now any more than you're imposing keeping those things away from me, that I have to go to Iran to get kebabs. I like walking around the streets of New York and being able to get a kebab on every fucking corner. There'll be a taco truck on every corner. We let these Mexicans take over. That sounds great. That's a selling point. You put the wrong thing on the poster if you're trying to get me to vote against immigration. Open the borders and we have taco trucks on every corner. That's awesome. So we're going to disagree, and you're imposing a restriction on who I get to live with as much as I'm imposing no, it's public. You have a neighborhood and people start playing Iranian music. I'm sorry, but move to the country where you can't hear your neighbor's music if that's such a big deal, right? So either one of us could be said to be imposing. And the point is of why I'm telling you my position, and that it's a long-term robust position, and that I acknowledge that your position is also a long-term robust opinion, so that we're going to have to figure out ways to live even if we think one of us is it's going to become this way. No, it's becoming this way. In the meanwhile, we're going to have to live together for 100 years or whatever, 10, 20 years. So let's figure out ways to do that. We're both going to exist, right? I am going to keep my position. And right now, the trend is that I'm going to win. So that's why I'm offering compromises like, how about we split the United States up into 3 or 4 countries where you could try your crazy libertarian and minarchist shit down there in Mississippi or wherever, 70% of the people would be willing to do it or whatever. Anyway. We'll call that a wrap. I'm not really very happy with it. This happens to be what's in